Ah, we've been waiting for this for so long. I don't know how long we've been waiting for this, but it's finally here. We've got a MIDI Out system inside KORG Gadget. It looks like it's free. Can anyone confirm this? When I went into the store and was about to purchase it, because I was perfectly ready to spend some money on this new gadget, the Taipe gadget said buy. When I pressed it, it just loaded. There was no purchase, no prompting me, to put in my code into the App Store or anything like that. It just loaded. So it looks like as if it's free, even though it said buy. Now, KORG Gadget 2 looks a bit different, and I'm not gonna go into that too much. All I'm gonna say is, I don't like that it's getting darker in color. I would like it to get brighter. However, I do like the color coding and stuff like that. And there's also some nice new effects in there. And yeah, whatever. We're gonna have a look at the Taipe MIDI gadget. So the way it works, basically, it allows you to connect to external gear. So I'm just gonna load one instance of Taipe right here. And to set it up with anything, like for instance, I've got an iRig MIDI 2 here. So I connected that to my audio hub, which has a USB hub, and then that's connected to my iPad through the USB 3 to Lightning connector. So in order for us to get MIDI out from Gadget into the Uno, we have to choose an output. And we open up this list. It says no output right now. I've got AUM loaded in the background. I'm recording the audio that way. Then we have iRig MIDI 2 here. So if we choose that, this Taipe gadget is now gonna send out MIDI notes and MIDI CC messages out through the iRig MIDI into my Uno synth here. As I said, it sends out MIDI notes and it also sends out CC. So you can actually very easily decide what kinds of CCs you want to put out there. You kind of have to know the parameters inside your synth, whether it's a virtual synthesizer like an application inside your iPad, or if it's an external one. For instance, like the Uno has the cutoff on CC number 20 and resonance on 21. And so if I choose that right here through this list, I can go to 20 when I want to control the cutoff right there. Now, something I want to touch upon is the way that MIDI can actually end up working against you. You have that one synth that you're using. It has a keyboard like my Mini Nova here, and it also has knobs. It can send out CC data, it can send out MIDI note data, and so you want to use it as a master controller. You also want to record the sounds coming out from this, and you want to sequence it from KORG Gadget. And so you end up connecting both the input and the output. Now, what might happen here is actually that you get doubling of notes and hanging notes, because you're now sending out notes and receiving them at the same time. And that usually ends up being an issue. It's not a new problem, it's been there since the beginning of MIDI, and some DAWs actually have ways of filtering that out. And in many cases, you'll end up having to turn off either the input or the output inside your DAW to circumvent that. I used to circumvent it in my studio by connecting all of my synthesizers to a big MIDI patch bay, and I only connected the inputs. And then I had this big master keyboard with all of the knobs on it and faders and everything, and I used to sequence all my synths and play my synths from that keyboard. And so if you're one of those people out there with that one synth and you want to use it as a master keyboard, remember that. Now, KORG Taipei also has some settings, and when you press that button, you can find settings for the LFO, and yeah, it has an LFO, and we're gonna check that out really soon. Just one more thing, we have the output and input settings in here too, apart from the button in the channel right there. And so here we can set up our devices and also the channels we want to work from. Now down here we can also find the scaling mode and the arpeggiator. But we're gonna have a look at the LFO really quickly here. It's very simple to operate. It has a sync function, it's got an intensity knob so you can set the strength of the LFO, and you also have a speed. You turn it on by pressing the on button, and then you just need to choose what you want it to control. Now in this case we know that the Unisynth has its cutoff on CC20, so we're gonna choose CC20 here in the list. And before we try this out, I just want to change out the waveform, and we open up the waveform window and we can see that we have a triangle, we have a down saw, we have an up saw, square, and sample and hold. I'm gonna choose a down saw. That's very cool. Now, there is something I want to highlight that can be extremely confusing. You see, you can see me control Taipe itself with my NanoKey Studio, and that in turn sends out the MIDI to the IK Multimedia Unisynth. Since all of the gadgets inside KORG Gadget has a MIDI learn function, you'd think that, hey, in order to set this up, I would just have to connect my MIDI controller to Gadget and then use the MIDI learn function to assign my MIDI controller knobs to Taipe and then choose the right CC in the Taipe list. That's not how it works, folks. If you assign a knob from your hardware controller using this system to a knob inside Taipe, what you'll actually end up controlling is the list itself. Yeah, so the only way to get a setup working like I've done right here is to actually make sure that the MIDI controller itself is sending out the right CCs. And that's what I've done. KORG, maybe you should just turn off the MIDI learn function for Taipe if you can't find another way of implementing this, because this is really confusing. Well, there certainly seems to be a lot to think about when you're using the new MIDI Out Taipe gadget. Well, okay, so let's say we've gone past all of the setups and everything. You have everything set up. You have your controller, you have your synthesizer, it's all hooked up, and you're ready to sequence some stuff. And now you want to record the sequences playing out from Gadget into your synth as audio right into Gadget. Now, as many of you might know, or if you're new to this, you might not know, Gadget doesn't have conventional audio tracks like many other DAWs have. But it does have a gadget called Zirish. It was meant to add audio tracks to Gadget. Once you've set it up and you've made sure that Zirish has the input covered from your synthesizer, all you need to do is to record your audio. And here I hit an issue. It seems that KORG Gadget 2 has been updated and upgraded quite a bit, and it's now more resource heavy. Okay, so hold up. Before we continue, I just want to highlight something. This issue might not stay in the near future. It's an issue today and right now when I'm recording this, and it's Thursday, the 28th of February, 2019. So if you're watching this 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, it might not be an issue. Usually I have my buffer size at 512. Now, however, I had to increase the buffer size to 1000 because I was getting crackles and pops. So that's one thing you need to consider if you're about to update to Gadget 2. It takes a bit more resources. But then I hit another problem because I wanted to record all of this entire session in one go, since I was gonna record like a really quick video of this, and so I wanted to record my my synth audio and also the Gadget audio, and so I chose to open up AUM. I loaded up Gadget as an inter-app audio unit inside AUM, and also the hardware input from the Audio Hub into AUM. That way I can now record both tracks or audio from both Gadget and the Unisynth in one go in their each separate tracks. When I did that and tried to record stuff through the Zirish Gadget, I was again hitting crackles and pops. KORG, you're gonna need to optimize this somehow. So that's one thing to think about. I might make a more in-depth video about Taipe, but you really don't need it. All you need to do is load it up, seems to be free, find the input source of your either hardware or app that you're using, choose it in the list, and you're able to sequence external stuff, both MIDI notes and MIDI CC data out from KORG Gadget to everything else, which is awesome. And we've been waiting for this for so long. Thank you so much for watching. All comments and ratings are very much appreciated. As usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it. Wow.